Welcome to Comfort Havoc number 2. My name is James Williams Jr. So, I'm going to do this video about Marvel Comics. And White Boy Roy here is going to totally screw this thing up, aren't you? But that's okay, because babies get a hall pass. So anyway, there we go. You happy now? You're on TV. Anyway, well, technically, you're on the internet. So, me and White Boy Roy are going to do this video on Marvel Comics. Alright, this is not going to be a long video because I love Marvel, but there's a lot of things in Marvel that have really ruined Marvel for me, which is kind of why I stopped buying the comics. You know, I really love the comics, I really love the cartoons. I don't have Disney Plus, but I would love the streaming services because I really want to see Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or whatever that is. I also would like to have a job on the streaming service because I would like to be on that show because I'm an independent filmmaker. I'm an actor who has not been discovered and hasn't caught a break in the 19 years that I've been in this business. Alright? So I've been busting my ass and I've been getting nowhere. Sorry for swearing on something that has to do with Disney. Anyway, let's move on. So Disney did all these retconnings back in the early 2000s, like 2010, 11, somewhere between me going into the military and getting my heart completely smashed. So one of the reboots that they did was Guardians of the Galaxy. This is not here or there. And they got rid of my favorite 13 members of the Guardians of the Galaxy from Major Victory, Charlie 27. They turned Yondu into a Ravager, which he wasn't. And they did something with the fourth guy. And then Tiger, he disappeared because him and Wolverine's great-granddaughter, or whatever the hell she was, always were having a fight trying to get to the adamantium claw so she could fuse them into herself. Again, Marvel did this retconning thing. It's okay, buddy. Yeah, what you got something to say? You weren't even born then. Well, anyway, so they did this retconning thing. You know, the only thing that really survived the retconning was basically Deadpool. But everything else was just like, you know, a big shift of a finger up somebody's rectum at the whole comic Marvel universe, with Scarlet Witch ruining the MCU in the first place. And then Franklin trying to put everything back together. You know, I got a book over there that I will do a report. I haven't read it yet. I mentioned this in a video way back in the day. But, so the one thing that totally destroyed me is when they got rid of the god powers of the gods. How do you do that? And that's basically what this is about. Because I don't understand how in the hell, after 1940-something, 50-something, etc., when Thor was the most powerful guy. And I'm not talking Thor, Eric Masters Thor, who became Thunderstrike. I'm talking about the original Thor, Odin's son, before he started going by Thor, Odin's son, when he was just Thor. When he was Donald Blake, and he had the cane, he slammed on the ground, it became Mjolnir, and he was banished to Earth to learn humility, etc., which is why he was given a lame leg, which is why he had to walk with a cane, so he had to slam the hammer on the ground to become Mjolnir, the cane, and then all of a sudden, God stopped being the most powerful beings in the universe. Because even Galactus didn't go anywhere near Asgard. You know, nobody really messed with the Asgardians. Or the Olympians, because they were gods too. Because Hercules and Zeus and all of them were the Olympians. But for Marvel, the Asgardian gods were the strongest of all the gods. Alright? And then they proved that in these annuals that they had, when they had like the big annuals and they had the weightlifting contest, and Hercules could only lift like 1,000 so tons, where Thor was the strongest Marvel character. He'd lift 10 or 20,000 tons. I have it in the basement somewhere. It was one of the Marvel annuals that they came out like Sports Illustrated, where all the superheroes went on vacation. Now, not going with that being canon now, because that's a thing that everything's been retconned. And then if you watch the Marvel movies, all of a sudden, the gods are not gods anymore. They're advanced humanoids, but they're on a different level than normal people. And I'm like, that's some BS if I ever seen BS. And I don't appreciate... Well, you want the drool to stay there, fella? I mean, you know, you can't get chicks with drool. Who you swinging at? I will drop you on the floor, which would ruin my career at Disney. But anyway, okay. You just go ahead and look that way. Go ahead and let that fart out, because we know that's what you're waiting on. But anyway, so back to you guys. The retconning really destroyed me because it took out all my Guardians of the Galaxy. It took out all of my X-Men. They took away all of my X-Men. They recently, but I don't know how recently, turned Psylocke from being Asian back to being European, which really sucked because Psylocke's character sucked when she was a European, but when she was Asian, everybody loved her, especially me. Asian Psylocke was a bona fide badass, where European Psylocke was basically just a walking rich woman with telepathic powers and a telepathic knife. And, you know, her body and everything, I understand when they went through the Sears Peerless, and I probably didn't pronounce that right. But, you know, when they started changing things, because remember when Storm became a little girl, and then Comrade Hodge, or whatever, he became that 8-legged freak thing, taking mutant powers and trapping them all on Genosha, shaving everybody's heads bald, because Renee St. Clair went bald, and then Wolfsbane's got Omega Evolution. Richter got buffed up a little bit. Jamie Mordock's clone got killed, and he was never really a member of X Factor, and this has happened on more than one occasion, where one rogue clone from Jamie Mordock's, Maddox, whatever the hell his name is, would Xerox himself out and be free for 15 years, and then the real Jamie would show up to try to come back and collect him. And he's had rogue clones go rogue, and each one of the rogue clones have somehow or another managed to join one of the X-Men factions. Where he's a businessman, so he has his own company. He's rich like Roberto da Costa. So, you know, a lot of the X-Men had separate lives outside of the X-Men. Beast was a doctor. The original 5 had, well, not Jean and not Cyclops, and I forgot what Iceman did, but Iceman was a college student. But Beast, he was a doctor. Angel was a businessman. He was Warren Worthington III. I forgot what the hell his middle name was, but I think it started with a W. But it doesn't matter because all that shit was retcon. But he was like one of the second richest characters in the Marvel Universe next to Tony Stark and Charles Xavier, who comes from old money. Charles comes from old money, so I can't say if he's richer than Tony Stark, but he ain't poor. You know, he got deep pockets. You know, and the term deep pockets, believe it or not, I don't care what anybody says, it did not come from Fast and the Furious 2. It literally came from Marvel. It literally was first seen in the comic of the X-Men, where Beast and Warren were talking, because Beast had his little holographic emitter, which made him look like he would if he didn't wolf out with all the drugs that he took when he was an Avenger, that turned him blue because he lost all his brains in X Factor something or another. He lost all his synaptics, so they took him to Henry Pym and some other Avengers to study him and get him fixed up, and then somehow he just magically got his brain back and he stayed with the Avengers. But then he wanted to cure his ailment, as he called it, his mutation, and then he became blue. So a lot of people don't realize that Beast was not always blue. He became blue for trying to cure his X-mutant gene, and it turned him blue. But that happened when he was an Avenger, and then he wound up going back to the X-Men, which again, they retconned all that crap, and they started making him look like a damn cat, which totally sucked. You know, it wasn't bad enough that he was blue and that he was covered in mega fur. Now he was living up to his name, and then they decided to literally take his face off and put a cat snout there. And I was like, what are you guys doing? But this is what the retconning had done. Then they got rid of U.S. Agent. I don't know why they got rid of John Walker, but they completely took him out of the comics, and then they brought him back in the Thunderbolts, and I never got to read any of them. He got his own miniseries, but it doesn't explain anything. I only have like 3 issues. I'm missing the last one. And then they got rid of so many different good characters. I don't know what they did to Stevie Hunter. She was a black lady who was dating one of the X-Men, or she was a love interest for Charles, one of the two, before Lilandra came back. And then it was way in the 90s when things was going on when they brought Xavier back for like the third or fourth time because he supposedly died, but he didn't die. He was just up in space living in the Shi'ar Empire. And then the Skrulls kidnapped him and they were taking his place trying to get Lilandra to do everything because Super Skrull was running the shop, and then the X-Men had discovered him because Asian Psylocke discovered him and Jubilee discovered him, so Jubilee had to go warn the X-Men, but she got caught, and then naked Asian Psylocke and naked Asian Jubilee were just tied up, and then they caught Gambit, and the Skrulls were replacing them, and Wolverine was having sex with this chick that had butterfly wings, and then he realized that his X-Men were not his X-Men, so he found them and freed them, and then they kicked all the Super Skrulls' ass off of the Shi'ar Empire. So, yeah. Then they retconned all that with Scarlet Witch after the Onslaught saga, when Onslaught was a good saga, and the only person who's ever really ripped the Hawk out of Bruce Banner, or ripped Bruce Banner out of the Hawk, was Onslaught, who was a combo of Magneto and Xavier. And I don't really remember how all that played out, but Onslaught bumped into everybody who wasn't a mutant and was just devastating everybody. But he didn't mess with Franklin. He knew he couldn't deal with Franklin. Because Franklin Richards is like the highest of Omega level mutants, but people don't really give him that credit. They gave it to the one above all, who now was supposed to be God or whatever. But Franklin Richards is basically a god because he can create shit, you know. And then they retconned all that shit, but they left Franklin alone. And I got a book about that somewhere over there. I just bought the Marvel Universe A to B or some stuff like that. But this comic, the retconning destroyed a lot of my favorite characters, got rid of them. And once they killed Night Thrasher, when they revived the New Warriors for like the 9th time, because the comic's been canceled a lot, and you know, they put in a lot of people from other comics that had been canceled into the New Warriors, and then they had the New Warriors, and they did the same thing with the New Mutants and the New Mutants, and the New Mutants from a different timeline, and the New Mutants from a different world and a different universe, and the 616 was just all messed up. And so then they started doing all this stuff, and I'm like, why are y'all doing this crap? You know? Well, which way do you want to be, buddy? Okay. It's okay. You know, if you was mine, I'd beat you, but you ain't mine. But you can't be showing off in front of the camera. Okay? You sleepy. Yeah, you sleepy. Don't growl at me. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just changed you, so I don't know what's wrong with you. Anyway, moving on. So, we get to these parts where they started retconning gods left and right. And they started wiping out gods left and right. And then they completely depowered Thor and all the gods. And I'm like, this isn't right, because Galactus never, as long as I've been reading, ever ventured into Asgard. Never. Now, he's a planet devourer, but he's not a god. And then, like, the living tribunals and all them, they never went near the gods. Now, unless I missed something, they never went near the gods. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to end this video because somebody's not behaving. Alright? Yeah, you're not behaving. Yeah, you're totally not behaving, and you're like totally ruining this comic book video. Yeah. Oh, no. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to let you spit on me. You already drooled up my left arm. Oh. Well, that being said, this is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Be seeing you. Hey, you want to say bye to the camera? Don't headbutt me, man. That's not cool. Look over here. Look at the camera. Look at the camera right there. Over here. Hey. Yeah, look right there. Look, there you are. Say bye. Now, for a minute there, I thought he was going to give me the finger again. So, we're going to leave now. Thank you guys for watching.